What is going on, guys? Your boy Joey Jake72 coming to you guys with a video right now. So I want to go over the Tom Donahoe, Howie Roseman fist bump war room stuff that was going on during the draft, during the third round. Obviously, the Milton Williams pick. Okay, now to go into it, I didn't make a video on this earlier. I was going to, but I really didn't care at the time. Go to Philly 500 stream during the second, third rounds. I kind of was like really mad about it and kind of talked about it a lot when I was on there, but I'm going to make a video about it now since we have some answers and we can kind of go over everything. So this is from Jeff McClain. I'm going to read everything. So Jeff McClain says, Howie Roseman said on WIP this morning, Tom Donahoe wanted NC State defensive tackle Alan McNeil when Eagles trade back for Milton Williams. Can confirm from two independent sources that was the case, but he was only one who wanted McNeil. Donahoe also thought another 6 was needless. Okay, now Chris Mortensen tweeted this out on top of that, and this is quote unquote from Donahoe pretty much seeing this video and that it was actually aired. So quote unquote, Donahoe says, that's silly. I didn't even know I was on camera. I thought Howie and Andy Weidel led it as good as a draft as we had in my 10 years. Okay, so Donahoe's like senior of president of of scouting, whatever it is, whatever his title is. So he's in charge of all the whole scouting department. Okay, this is the problem I have. Okay, obviously Donahoe and Howie. Donahoe want to stay at 70. Howie want to move back 3 spots and get a 6th-round pick and get the player that they want. Obviously, with Jonathan Gannon in the room, there is a video of Jonathan Gannon being so hype about that Milton Williams pick, and it's a solid pick. But obviously, the scouting department wanted a player that was either better or worse. So we're not going to know until this day. Hopefully, that guy's name doesn't become a superstar in the NFL. Okay, so they drafted D tackle Milton Williams. It is what it is. When I saw this happen, I thought it was really embarrassing. I mean, I was already having a good draft. You know what? We drafted Devontae Smith, an amazing first night. Then we go into the second, third rounds. Get Landon Dickerson, which was like okay, high risk, but you get a good reward out of that pick if he works out. And we were talking about that. And then once they had the Milton Williams pick, they showed the Eagles war room and showed Howie Roseman fist bumping Andy Weidel and Jeffrey Lurie and all the other guys that were in the room. And then he went up to Donahoe, and Donahoe gave him a weak fist bump. And then they were kind of, Howie had his hands open, like, what's going on? What's wrong? Blah, blah, blah. So I wonder if this happens at the draft all the time. I mean, to be honest with you, it probably does happen at the draft all the time, guys. Like every time I see a war room, especially this draft or many drafts, everyone's usually happy. The whole room is happy. You really never see anybody that's, I saw the Lions war room. They're hugging and they're hitting the tables and they're doing all that, and then I see this happen. I'm just like, of course they catch this on camera, so it's kind of crazy at the same time. I don't know. My problem with this front office is obviously the analytics department and the scouting department. And what happens is the Eagles go on analytics so much. Obviously, they drafted Landon Dickerson that had 2 season-ending injuries, 2 knee injuries, 2 ankle injuries, and they still drafted him because of his upside, because of his analytics, because how much ceiling does he have? Okay, that's what they drafted him off by. That's why you got to be careful drafting like that, because it maybe won't pan out. And you know what? If he pans out, obviously it's going to be an A+ for that pick when we look back at it. Obviously, to me, it's a C+, which I've already said before. But that's only a C+ because of the formula they're using. And I think that Landon Dickerson could have been drafted later in this draft, at least 3rd round. They could have drafted him. They could have drafted another starter on this team. You had Devontae Adams. You could have added Asante Samuel. You could have added, obviously, JOK. We found out about the heart condition, which I didn't know about. Someone mentioned it in the chat, but I didn't hear it anywhere else but one person in the chat, so I didn't know what was going on. So obviously you have reasons behind players when drafting them, obviously, because the scouts are going out and they're looking at these guys' pro days and they're saying, okay, these are the guys we should pick up. And then Howie Roseman's coming by with his decisions and what he thinks is going to be a high ceiling for certain players. And obviously Landon Dickerson was high on their board. And then going to the 3rd round, obviously, Howie Roseman figured they were going to get their guy in Milton Williams in the 3rd round. You move back 3 spots. He did it with the 1st round pick, guys. We moved back from 6 to 12. The smoke screens where we were getting a quarterback. The smoke screens where we were moving up to get a corner. And then on top of everything else, that wasn't the truth, guys. We believed all of it. You know what I mean? I didn't know what to believe because obviously I didn't think that the Eagles were all in on Jalen Hurts this year. I really didn't think that. Sorry, I am frozen right now. I didn't think that the Eagles were all in on Jalen Hurts. I really wasn't sure. So when that happened, and we traded up, then the news started to heat up that we were trading up in this draft to get a player. And obviously, Howie Roseman said Devontae Smith was their primary target of this draft. And how that draft board went, it didn't go well. Okay, we couldn't get Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, and finally, you had one more chance to move up. And I don't know how they did it, but they traded an 84th pick, third round to the Cowboys for them to move back to 12. We moved to 10 and get our guy in Devontae Smith. And that was a fantastic. And you know what? We literally drafted Devontae Smith and took a free first-round pick from the Miami Dolphins. So that was just a steal first round. Not only you draft a future player for this team that's going to just do so well, you get a first-round pick on top of it. It's like Howie Roseman saw that draft board. So even if we were at 6, Devontae Smith was right there for the taking. So really it made sense, but we just did an overstep and yeah, it worked out very well. But with the Milton Williams pick, it just seemed like Jonathan Gannon was very interested in him and seemed really excited, obviously very excited about that pick. So, I mean, I'm not going to complain if our new coach likes it. It's not Doug here. It's not, Howie Roseman just being happy about it. But our new defensive coordinator likes this guy that much, then, yeah, I'm all for it. Seems like a solid player. But this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the analytics and the scouting department. I was mad the rest of that draft, the rest of that day, at least for the second, third round. I was really upset about it because I'm like, of course they catch this on TV. We're caught in the mix and all this stuff. I'm seeing these other war rooms and they're all celebrating every pick. And then you got to see some difference. You know what I mean? If you have your scouting department, and this is the reason why Howie has been really bad with drafts. This is what's been happening behind closed doors of these drafts. Okay, there's no doubt in my mind Jeffrey Lurie has gotten close to these drafts, maybe pick some of these players over Howie's head. You never know at this point. But when I saw Andy Weidel, VP of player personnel, he's over Howie Roseman. When I see Andy Weidel more this year, I've noticed that Andy Weidel was in a lot of these press conferences before the draft. And I'm like, something's changing. Something's going on. They're changing the way they're doing things. Andy Weidel is being more formidable. Like I don't know. I feel like he's appearing a lot more for some reason. I didn't know what the case was. Okay. Even with the first round pick, he promised best player available. And I think they made the right decision in the first round. A+ first round. If there's a thing called A++ first round, because you got a first round pick while trading back from 6 to 12. So I noticed Andy Weidel was in a lot of these press conferences. So there's a lot of different things to talk about here. But I was upset about it. I was. And if this is the case, this is what happens. And they finally caught it on camera. Like, this is sad. Like, this shouldn't be happening. Like, I understand a disagreement, definitely. But, how he runs the show, guys. Like, this is why we've missed on draft picks, because he even at his press conference even talked about the Landon Dickerson pick and obviously the video that came out. And when they found out about it and they were asked during that press conference after the third round, Howie said, you have favorites. Obviously, he liked that player for Donahoe wanted from NC State, but unfortunately, he liked the player. He thought he could trade back, get some more compensation. I mean, look, Howie's trying to get compensation for 22 on top of drafting this draft. I can respect it. I understand that. I thought the first trade was great. The second trade for Milton, obviously moving back to 70 to 73, that was more of a future move, obviously, just because I think it was more, they could have got Milton Williams at 70, but they said, let's move back 3 spots. We have an offer. We're making an offer to Washington. They'll give us, we'll move back. Oh, that was Carolina. Never mind. We moved back where Carolina was. Obviously we traded that 6th round pick later on. We, with the 7th, I think, whatever it was, and we got a 5th round pick for 2022, which I thought it's a good future move. You have 10 picks for 2022 on top of getting the player that you want. So if they make trades and they're getting the players that they want, I have no problem with it. But when I see these two sides fighting like this, obviously Donahue's not making a big deal about it because this must happen all the time, or maybe this happens to other war rooms, but we just don't see it. I think seeing it was worse than thinking it. You understand? So, I don't mean to go on. It's almost a 10-minute video here, but just to say, guys, like, the analytics department and the scouting department are clashing heads during the draft, and this is what happened in the third round. So obviously everything's good now. Donahoe thinks we had a really good draft, which I think as the days go on, I like this draft more and more. I think the whole NFC East actually had a really good draft. I think everyone had a really good draft. I think besides the Giants really reaching for Kadarius Toney in the first round, I think the whole NFC East actually had a pretty decent draft, to be honest. The Eagles alone, I thought had a decent draft. I thought it was a nice B- draft at the end of the day. I thought they got some solid players, a lot of upside with a lot of these players. And you know what? I think, and at the same time, they got some compensation for next year, a first rounder and a fifth rounder for next year. So you're going to have 10 picks in the draft, plus 3 potential first-round picks for 22. So at the end of the day, Donahue's not upset about it. Obviously, you know, I don't know if he's just putting on a front to say everything's good when things are bad, but I'm not going to go too far. I mean, if Donahoe says, man, we drafted, you know, this is the best draft we've had the past 10 years, and if he says that, then great. Then if he thinks that, a guy we've never heard from ever, or just Donahoe is a guy we've never heard from, at least if we hear it from his mouth and he says that, makes me feel a little bit better about this draft. But I think it was a solid draft, and obviously all the drama that came with it in that third round with that Milton Williams pick was kind of cool. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. We go over all news all year round for the Philadelphia Eagles. Appreciate everybody that's been checking out the content. And other than that, guys, make sure you guys come to the streams, and we're going to have some fun this week, especially talk about some things. Other than that, guys, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Jake's code up, follows fly. Peace out, guys. Peace.